What's up, everyone? We just wrapped up an amazing episode with Will Lubbesmeyer. We talked through everything. We reminisced on the syndicate days. We talked about purpose. We talked about stoicism. We talked about mindset, morning habits, routines, and just how to become an overall better person. I think, Will is definitely one of those people that just is very goal-oriented and always just trying to better himself no matter where he is. So you got a great episode ahead, and stay tuned. Today's guest is one of the first people to ever pour into me and help me advance my professional career. He's a mindset guru. He is an amazing communicator and one of the hardest working people I know. Will Lubbesmeyer, thank you for coming on today, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. Mindset guru, though.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like either you're a mindset guru or the days at Syndicate, I just got like hardened.
Yeah, those were fun
I definitely
days.
got hardened.
You definitely got hardened.
We were sleeping, we slept at the office and just like, I don't know. I was just so happy I just did that just to say I did it.
Yeah, those were some grinding days, man. They taught you a lot about hard work and resiliency and stuff. Probably a good experience early on too, just to kind of learn, what it truly takes. So no, those were fun days.
Brutally honest too.
Yeah,
like
damn right.
We didn't really hold back. Like there was no HR team, none of that stuff going. I mean, it wasn't that like bad, but
no. I mean, I think a culture like that where you're just like radically candid with folks and can be really healthy because you really always know where you stand with people. But yeah, it's a little aggressive at times. My leadership style is a little different these days. I've softened it up a bit in the corporate world, but no, those were fun times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, and basically for the listener, basically like I dropped out of college and was working at this real estate company with a mentor of mine. And then he's like, you're working at Syndicate next week. So like, we're going to go there and like, you're going to meet everyone. And I think we went and like hung TVs and we were there and I had to put together like one more desk at the end of the day. And I just remember like, I didn't even know you and you're just like blaring like Lil Wayne and fully like rapping every song. And I'm in the other room, like rapping the same lyrics.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I could maybe get used to like this culture here and stuff. And then like the next 6 months were just a blur. It was just so much. Like the biggest thing I learned was definitely just integrity.
Yeah.
I feel like, cause I would just little white lies constantly all day.
I forgot about that.
And like still today I catch myself.
No, I think, obviously you came in there really wide eyed, but there was always just like a really intense eagerness to learn and like a willingness to do whatever it took, which I always noticed. And then, I mean, were you challenged with managing an Outlook inbox a little bit? Sure.
Dude, I still organize my inbox that exact way though. Like you sat me down, it was like the quickest 20-minute meeting. You're like, I'm going to show you how to organize an inbox. And now I feel like I was even showing my team. I'm like, Caitlin, like here, add these folders, drag things into these folders and just like keep your inbox clear.
Look at that. Well, yeah, those were funny times, but no, you definitely were a hard worker from the get-go, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember we would ask you to do stuff and you wouldn't even question it. You would just do it. And that was really impressive. And then obviously we started doing the content stuff and shooting the first video on your iPhone and it was all grainy. And, but then kind of watching you just develop the skill and, driving towards that level of mastery was fun to watch as well. It was like the amount of development that took place in such a short period of time was actually really impressive.
It was 6 months, really.
Yeah.
It was felt like a long 6 months.
Yeah. You're always really hungry for that like entrepreneurial piece of it too. I knew you do, great things. And obviously what you're doing here is really cool. And, especially at a young age, right? Like to really go into things like this, business, entrepreneurship, there's an element of fear. Because there's risk, obviously, but to see someone who's at a young age willing to take that on it's impressive because you don't see it a lot, right? Most people will settle into, this safe game, the long game, and not take the risk to try to kind of, go be big and do great things. And you were willing to do that. So it was cool.
Yeah. I also think a little bit has to do with like when you're at Easter dinner and you like look at your whole family, like, by the way, guys, I dropped out of school last week, and everyone's like, you better fucking work.
Yeah.
And then it was like, that was just my mindset of like, okay, if I'm not going to school and I'm taking this like non-traditional route, I better like grind.
Yeah.
And yeah, it started out just calling drivers. And I remember this guy's name was Jesus and I called him Jesus. And oh gosh, there's just so many wild things.
The stuff we made you do, man, like it's kind of funny, but I think it really kind of taught you like really early on, like how to be okay in an uncomfortable situation, which I think, tends to, drive some people to not do that, but for others, it'll create resiliency. Yeah. Yeah, that's some funny ass times.
Yeah. I remember being on the after hours phone.
The after hours phone. We had you do all the grunt work, but again, you didn't complain. And that was where I was like, this kid, because you were young, man. And most kids at that age are so fucking entitled, right?
I didn't think I was that young though. But now I look at videos and pictures, I'm like,
you
I
were
look
young,
like a baby.
man.
Yeah.
But no, just the willingness, and that's huge. Willing to work incredibly hard, willing to do shit you don't necessarily want to do, but do it anyways. Yeah. Like those are the kind of like principles, and just personality characteristics that, lead to people having success, really.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be hungry. And I think it was just such an interesting time. I mean, there's so many amazing stories that happened at Syndicate, and I wish I could like recant more of them because like, I don't know. There's just like every day it seemed like there was some story, and it was like one of the only times in my life where like, I just feel like I walked around with amazing stories in my back pocket. Like whenever I got talking to anyone, I would just like bring up something, this, that, or the other that happened. And it was really fun. And I think, I even like got pretty dedicated to the gym. It was like a whole mindset shift. Yeah. It was like when your whole day is hard, like the gym doesn't seem that hard. Yeah,
we were working hard, man. Those were long days, sleeping at the office sometimes, get the shower there, just get ready, work right there. And I mean, some of this,
we would also bullshit around a lot though.
Oh, dude, we had so much fun. That might have been the most fun I've had in my career. Yeah. Like it was fun, right? We were working with people we liked. Everyone was on the same page with the grind, right? We had to work our ass off. We were accountable to each other. It was super fun, man. Like I'll still show people the Trucker Bros videos and they think it's the funniest thing. Dude, that production for where you were in like your mastery of that at the time was pretty impressive, man. That was good stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think that like, I even look back at those and like, obviously Isaac was a part of it too, but like together, it was like, those are pretty good videos for like today. I'm like, no lighting, no like 4K, no like export settings that we like have dialed in or anything like that. It was just like really just like shoot it, edit it, export it and post it. And, I don't know, that was just a really fun time. And I feel like we had this, like, we truly were the Trucker Bros. Like, it would be like noon and we'd have like Reggie Bush highlights on and we'd just be like,
we had all those TVs on the wall playing different stuff.
Yeah, we would just be watching stuff because like we're calling loads and looking for loads and we're actively like working, but there's like always like stuff that I don't know. Like
it was a good energy for sure.
Definitely a good energy. Well, I think like the Syndicate days were I don't know, awesome. And I feel like what was really cool is I really got to touch every part of like the trucking business, from like the recruiting aspect to the marketing side to dispatching loads to like going down and figuring out maintenance on a transmission or something to like coordinating tows and all that. Like it seemed like we were such a small company. I mean, at the end of it, there was just 3 of us there. Yeah. So it was like 3 of us were managing like, 12 trucks, which honestly doesn't sound that crazy, but when you got trucks that are breaking down every single day, it's pretty tough.
Wear a lot of hats. I'm sure that's, helped you as you've kind of started your own business, right? And you wear a lot of hats. You have to be able to, organize and coordinate a lot of different things. And hopefully those experiences help with this.
Switch gears out, switch gears like a lot because I was like doing marketing. Then I was like doing booking loads and stuff like that. And I think, honestly, I take a lot of like, I'm not as good at it, but I take a lot of like the leadership roles. Like I want to be as candid as you were with me, but I also feel like sometimes that means that you need to have, like people there's kind of a two-way street there, right? Like if someone doesn't respond well to that, I can't just be like super candid and brash all the time.
No, I think, and that's a good point, right? Like effective communication is key as a leader, right? You can't manage everyone or lead everyone the same way. You know, some people respond really well to you coaching them hard, right? And they'll respond positively to that. And some people will cower to that, where you need to handle them with, you know, more finesse. The whole idea is, how do I get the most out of this person? How do I communicate with them and lead them in a way that's going to make them the best they can be? So yeah, you can't, the idea of like just a cookie cutter approach of treating everyone exactly the same it's not a very effective strategy.
Yeah. Because I would respond well to like, Chesty, you're going to go down there and fucking figure out why the fuck L4 won't start. And I would be like, L4. So scared. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go down there and figure out.
Chester on a chest day. Those are the
or
old
like,
days.
or like stopping at the yard to count trailers. The amount of times I was late and I just blew past it. And you're like, what trailers are in there? And I'm like, if my math is right, I think it's the same ones as yesterday.
The yard check. I forgot you did the yard check.
Yeah.
Man, that's funny.
Start and the end of the day. Because... But yeah, and we were even screwing on last thing on the syndicate thing. I just remember being like
GPS units,
18 feet up on a ladder, like
so
screwing
unsafe.
GPS units into the.
They're so unsafe.
And then, so unsafe. And then I remember you came in one day. You're like, "Why do we have a trailer in like Kansas? We shouldn't have a trailer in Kansas." And sure enough, a couple of those things came popping out. I didn't have them on too secure. Man. They were just through the.
Good times.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny to me. But yeah, I wanted to kind of get in just so the people can get to know you a little bit, right? Sure. Like rapid fire questions. I'm not going to provide much input. I'm just going to ask them. I want your answer. And then the next thing I'm going to say is the next question. Okay. So first things first, what is your go-to morning routine to set the right mindset for the day?
I think it's the most important thing for me is my mornings. So I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. First thing I do is make the bed and make it well. Hydrate the body a little bit after that. I'll take like some AG1s, and then I'll get into like what I call my power up routine. And that's going to consist of, you know, giving daily gratitude, daily affirmations. I'll review my monthly, weekly goals. And then I'll plan the day, right? All my meetings, just to make sure that, you know, my time is being effectively used. And then usually from there, I'll definitely do some journaling. Big on journaling. I can just write and just kind of pour my thoughts, ideas into pages in the morning, just to kind of clear my mind. And then I'm into usually what I call a power shower, which is like 2 minutes of a cold shower, just to kind of get myself grounded. And then I go to the gym. So gym not every morning, but every morning during the work week, I go to the gym to get that going.
And real quick, are you writing or typing?
I'm writing. I write everything, right?
Takes so long.
I'm old, man. Like the idea of even on my phone, journaling that way or like typing, it just doesn't feel the same to me. I like a pencil, I like a notebook, and I like to write. And sometimes, I mean, there's days where I won't have a whole lot, right? And I'll just make a simple entry and maybe something I want to accomplish that day or just some thoughts I have. And then there's other days I'll write 3-4 pages. I'll have ideas or how do I want to be a better leader or, you know, how am I living my life, stuff like that. So it's just a great way to kind of, you know, life gets busy, get a lot of things on your mind. And I think being able to kind of clear your mind in the morning to kind of set your mental state is important.
Yeah. And out of all those things, I mean, you mentioned a ton of things. You got the journaling, the power shower, all that stuff. What's the one daily habit that you think contributes to your mental well-being the most?
The journaling, without a doubt.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's the brain dump.
The brain dump. I mean, I'll do some, you know, meditation a little bit too, like through the Daily Calm app. Again, I'm just trying to settle my mind down. And by the way, I don't look at my phone in the morning, right? I don't go to emails. I don't look at anything like that. Instagram, nothing. I want just to be completely free of that and really own the beginning of my day as a bookmark. I'm bookmarking the front of my day. It's my anchor, no phone, nothing. And just really it's kind of time with yourself to kind of get yourself ready for the day.
And I think when you're up that early, because I've started to wake up early, sort of see you at the gym every once in a while. I usually leave when I'm coming in. But I will say when you're up that early, it almost seems like like, you know, the world's kind of like turned off. Yeah. Like, you're not getting a bunch of texts. You're not like I know, like, oh, my team doesn't even get in until 9, so I'm not going to hear from them until at least 9, you know? Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It just seems like it's easy to stay off my phone.
I like knowing that I've accomplished more in a day before most people wake up, right? Yeah. And it feels good. And also, you know, as I've, you know, progressed in career and taken on more, time becomes a lot less available. And having that time in the morning to get those things done and get a workout in really allowed me to get it done, because when I wasn't doing that, I'd work all day, I'd grind all day, and I'd be tired in the evening, right? And I wouldn't get to the gym. And then I started skipping that, and that wasn't good for me. So doing that in the morning, and then I just feel better, right? I have energy. My mind's going. I'm not groggy. I literally don't know if I could live without getting up at 4 a.m. and doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel off.
It's powerful though. Yeah. I mean, even just waking, like, for me, that's been the only way I've been able to stay consistent with the gym recently. The last 3 months have been massive for me with the gym. And it's same thing you said, like, I'm working all day. A lot of times I don't eat a lot during the day if I'm super busy and stuff like that. And then, like, 3 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, am I really going to make it to the gym? Gosh, I'm hungry. Right. Do I want to stop and get food before the gym? And then I got to work out on a full stomach and I don't feel that good. And then it's like packed when you get there. Yeah. It's so packed at like 5, 6 p.m. And you're like, what's even going on? And then I always feel like if I leave work at 5, I have time for one thing. Yeah. Because dinner is always going to happen, right? So it's like I have time to do like dinner and like go grocery shopping. I have time to do dinner and work out. I have time to do dinner and pair it with basically anything. And that's then it's 9:30, 10 o'clock and you got to go to bed. Yeah. I don't know.
I found that if I didn't work out in the morning, it was a heck of a lot. I would start negotiating with myself if I was doing the afternoon. Like negotiate with myself about why I didn't have to go, right? Yeah. Where in the morning I just get it done and it's just out of the way. And then, you know, that allows that freedom in the evening to do the things I maybe want to do. Like, you know, if you're in a relationship, it's, you know, you can spend time with them or, you know, do other things other than having this thing weighing on your mind all day that, God, I got to still go to the gym this evening. Just getting it out of the way is just way better.
Oh yeah, dude. And sometimes like sometimes the negotiations don't even make sense, dude. You're like,
you can convince yourself. You're like,
dude, I walked to lunch today, and you're like, wait, that was only 3 blocks. How am I counting that as a workout? Or you'd be like,
that's funny.
I golfed last weekend. It's like that was like 5 days ago. Why does that even? It's wild. I don't understand. But funny. Yeah, definitely happens to me too. What is your favorite quote or mantra? I think I know it, but
I mean, how you do anything is how you do everything, for sure.
That's my favorite. I've taken that with me, but
that one is great. I think that is just a total life mentality. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's, I mean, I think there's a ton of power in doing the little things very well. If you can't do the little things well, how can you possibly expect to do the big things well? And just really that mentality of, in anything you're doing, right, you're going to do it to your very best, the best of your ability. I don't care if you're making your bed, if you're doing anything, you know, how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do everything is how you
do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. I just live by that. And I think about that all the time.
It's the standard.
It is, right? Where are you setting the bar for yourself? And when you're thinking about that in those moments, you're going to do a good job because you start to hold yourself accountable. And it's really about the little things. If I tell you, I'm going to call you back, I'm going to call you back, right? If I'm making a bed, I'm going to make it well. Anything I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do it to the very best of my ability. And that will transcend in anything you're doing, whether it's work, relationships, anything. It's just really like a mindset mentality. And you just kind of affirm that to yourself while you're in those moments. Because there's times where, like, I have a little bit of OCD, but like if I don't do it well, I'll kind of look back at it like, you know what, I half-assed that. And I'll go back and do it again just to make sure, you know, I'm staying disciplined and true to that idea in anything I do.
Well, yeah. And it's kind of like, I mean, how many people do you know that where it's like, oh, their like closet's kind of messy, you know, and then you're like, okay, well, I bet they're living, and then you go to the living room and the living room's or whatever it may be, right? It's like, there's kind of this, like, there's this, when I was in real estate, actually, I learned this thing. It was like, always have a clean car. Yeah. Cause like, if your car's not clean, it's a representation of like,
for sure,
a bunch of other things. And, kind of the same thing, you know, keep your car clean. You know, you got to keep the car clean.
I keep my place clean. I think clean environment leads to a clean mind, clear mind. And, so I'm big on that big time.
Yeah, I like that. And that's what we kind of already went into it, but how you do everything is how you do everything. Describe it. We kind of already did. If you could go to dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why? I got a few random ones in here for you, Willie, because
I like that one. Dead or alive. They're not all. I would say Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Okay.
Love him.
Yep.
Arnold, for sure.
Yep.
And then
Pumping Iron. We watched that countless times.
Oh, yeah, we did. And then I would so the third one is going to be a culmination. We'll call it the GOAT, where it'll be like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And so put those they're one together.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Just like that kind of like that top tier athlete. I think you can learn a lot from someone.
For sure. I think those guys, like, you want to talk about work ethic, that's where it's at, right? Like, yes, were they God-given talent? 100%, but the work ethic was crazy. And what I love about those guys is just they have just a killer mentality. Like, they'll step on your fucking throat. Like, they're going to go for it. And I just like that about him. And then, Arnold's great. And especially if you think about Arnold, like, have you ever really sit down and think about like everything that guy accomplished as an immigrant who didn't speak English?
Yeah.
He fucking becomes the best bodybuilder in the world. Then he becomes the biggest movie star in the world, becomes the governor of California.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild, right? And it's just, I think it's that idea that like he didn't listen to anyone saying he couldn't do something, right? He was extremely confident in himself and just went into things fearlessly.
Yeah.
I just love that about him.
Well, and he pushed a car from Mickey's Diner all the way to Hennepin Bridge in that movie Jingle All the Way or whatever, right?
He could do that, right? He can do anything, really.
Yeah. I wasn't really around during his era, but I know obviously even watching like Pumping Iron, just like his mindset around like how serious he takes things was pretty intense. And I think that might even relay into the saying of how you do anything is how you do everything. Like, it seemed like he held himself to this high standard, like he would spend hours in the gym. He would, no matter how long he had to learn English, like he was going to learn it, know, and like
very goal oriented. I've liked like the Arnold era after the movie star stuff, when he's been older, and just kind of, that guy just lives with a certain like zest for life and enthusiasm that, like, I don't know, it's very inspiring. Right? He just like talks a lot about, he doesn't look in the past. If he's driving a car, he'd rather look through the windshield than the rearview mirror. Right? He's just always looking forward. And it's just cool, man. He's just a cool guy.
It's a rare trait to always, like, I don't know if he's always happy. I don't want to speak for him, but it seems like in the public eye, like he's kind of this like always like very bright spirited, happy person. Yeah. I feel like that's really, really hard to come by.
Have you seen his new documentary on Netflix?
No.
It's awesome, man.
Really?
It just talks about his life and his career and just, everything he accomplished and, some of the things he had to overcome. But to your point, he's just always very positive. He's just always very goal oriented, had a vision for what he wanted to do. The fact that he became governor of California is wild, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah,
man. Like, swear to God, if we could have a president that wasn't born here, like, it would be freaking Arnold, man. Like, he just went after things fearlessly, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, that's something to think. I mean, so my dad owns a landscaping company, and he's obviously the hardest thing about that whole business is labor.
Yeah.
And that's one of his main criteria when he hires someone. He's like, I just want someone that just seems happy. Yeah. It's just like, because if you come, a lot of these, guys that work for him, they come and they're just so like down every day, and it's just like, it kind of harps on everyone around. So he's got a few people on his team that are like always happy, and it's just like, that's what he's looking for.
Negativity is contagious, man. It's almost more contagious than positivity, right? That's why you should always kind of have positive people around you. Just that keeps you elevated, and yeah, man, positive attitude for sure.
Well, especially these days. I mean, it seems like there's so much negativity on the internet and on the news and stuff. It's just like, you're not only getting it through the people around you, but you're getting it through the screens.
You get everything. Yeah. It's just, it's definitely more challenging these days to not get swept up in all the negativity and keeping yourself in a positive headspace, because I think that's important, right? If you're going through every single day and you're just feeling negative about shit, like, I mean, I don't know how that's going to be really challenging to be successful. And then how do you influence the people around you in a positive way if you're negative, right?
Yeah.
And I think leadership truly is influence, right? How do you influence the people around you? And you can do it either positively or negatively. And the idea should be, you know, if I'm a leader, I should be, you know, influencing the people around me in a very, very positive way that gets the best out of them, right? So, yeah, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I guess that's a lot deeper than I like. For me, like as a leader, like I'm just like, I feel like the first year was just like, please, like keep everyone happy.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, like after the first year, you're kind of looking, you're like, okay, I need to like lay down the law a little bit here. Like we can't just, this isn't just like a free for all. Then you kind of, you work through things like that and you start to realize, oh, this person's responding well to this kind of criticism and things like that. And it's so funny. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, and you were good at just like having the conversations. Yeah. But like, I remember when I was like late to work, I was like, oh, like Will's going to yell at me. Right. But it's like, as the leader, you don't want to have that conversation just as bad as I don't want it. No one wants to have that conversation. You know, no one wants to be like, dude, you've been 30 minutes late the last couple of days. Like, what's going on here? Like, it makes me mad when someone's late and I'm like, oh, now I have to have a conversation, you know? And I'm like the leader. I should be like this big bad, like, rah, rah. But it's like, I'm just not that guy.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, leadership isn't about your title or like the authority. It's truly about the influence and, you know, how I think building trust with your people is a huge component of that. I think really setting the standard of excellence within the organization is huge, right? If you don't set the expectation in a very clear way, then people don't know, you know, where they need to be. I think, you know, setting that very clearly is really important. And then holding people accountable is a big part of leadership, because sometimes, yeah, you have to have some uncomfortable conversations, but I found that people respond well when you hold them accountable. That shows you care, right? If you're gonna let me just fuck up and not hold me accountable, I'm ultimately gonna be like, this guy just doesn't care that much about me. But if they hold me accountable and they want me to be the best I can be, that shows me that this person really, really cares, and I'm gonna respond well to that. I'm gonna go above and beyond for them. So you got to do those, you know, those things of holding people accountable, having hard conversations, setting the standard, to really kind of get the most out of folks.
Yeah. I think it's so, I can't like the way, like you word it so elegantly, but like, I can't like, I guess, yeah. I mean, I just have to kind of relay that to the team. Like, hey, this is making us all better. I know it sucks. We're diving back into this edit and like, we're doing this, that, or the other, but like we're making and that was like a level of excellence. I feel like at Syndicate, that was like, I don't know, just everything we did. Like I remember being like, this does not matter. And like, but it does.
It does. It really does. It doesn't seem like it does, but you know, it really does. And here's what I'll tell you, man, like as a leader, like I'm never going to ask you to do something that I won't do myself. You know what I mean? And it's important that your people understand that and know that as well. Like I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not going to do myself, right? And I will get down in the trenches with you and do it. And I think that creates a level of trust and respect between, you know, a leader and their people, which is extremely important. I think Gallup came out with Gallup. They have you ever heard of Gallup polls?
No.
Anyway, have you ever heard of Strength Finder?
I think so.
Like where you take the test and it tells you what your strengths are. Anyways,
yeah.
Gallup's a company that, you know, they basically are a data aggregator. They collect data. And they say like 70% of people, they don't leave a company, they leave their manager, right? They leave their leader. So it's really important as a leader that, you know, you're strongly connected with your people. You know, they value the relationship. They know that you care about them, that you're truly invested in their development. If a person doesn't think you're trying to develop them and have their best interest in mind, they're going to leave, right?
Yeah.
But if they do, they're going to stay. So it's really important.
That's super interesting.
People don't leave companies. They leave managers. They leave leaders.
And that's like, I don't know. I remember leaving leaving Wilson Lines because we got bought by Wilson Lines. And then going to DRG. And just meeting like my new people. And there was just a whirlwind of emotions from changing jobs from there. Sure. But I went from like this environment where like you and Sean and basically everyone around me was like pouring into me, and I felt very like valued and like held accountable. And then at DRG, it was kind of like I could just kind of do whatever, you know, like I just had my own little desk, and like a lot of times like my boss wasn't even there and stuff. And I remember like it was either, I think it was day 2 or 3, I like cried on the way home, and I was like, I just like don't have to like find that again. You know, I didn't have it anymore, you know. I was like, dang. And then things got better. I started to kind of meet people at the company and stuff like that, and that's inevitable. But I could not believe, and I was making, my job was easier. I was making twice as much, and I was crying on the way home. It's like, because I didn't have the manager that I genuinely like appreciated or wanted to hang out with and spend time with.
I think great leaders take the approach of like servant leadership. Like I can tell you without a doubt, like I found great purpose. It truly filled my cup pouring into you, right? Seeing you develop, seeing you start to have success, even today, like all this, like this makes me feel great because it reminds me that time of investment in you was worth it. I mean, look at this. This is incredible. Like servant leaders are the best, the ones that truly care about their people. Because you'll get some leaders, they only fucking care about themselves, right? All they care about is what can you do for me, when it should be the opposite, right? The leader should be doing for you, developing you. And that's really important. And I think those are the best type of leaders, because if you feel that from your leader, you'll run through a fucking wall for them, right? And that's the kind of culture you want to have. But you know, you have to genuinely care about your people for them to feel it. You can't fake that shit. Like you can sense if someone cares about you, if they're pouring into you, they're trying to develop you, they want the best for you. Those are the best leaders.
And there's a story like when you're like in the trenches, like pouring in, or even like I would never tell you to do something you didn't do. I remember we had to move like 25 recap tires from like the front to the back on like a 110-degree day before the 4th of July weekend or something. And I remember we did it together, and we were just we needed to shower after and all that shit. It was legit, but
it's fun. Small companies are fun because you get in the trenches with people. There's a certain level of like bonding that happens when you're like kind of struggling and suffering through shit together. And it brings people close. It's certainly more challenging when you get in like larger organizations. That's kind of lost. But with like small companies, man, I genuinely miss that, right? Just rolling up the sleeves and doing shit together that you don't want to be doing. But again, it creates this like level of like cohesiveness and bond with your people. It's just, that shit's fun.
One, to set the scene, I mean, we had like a 3,000 square foot office at the start, and we were spread out. And then by the end of it, we were all jammed in the conference room.
The conference room was fun, man.
We had the bullpen, dude. That's
what that reminds me of over there, the way you have it set up.
Yeah.
It's good, man. You want to keep your people in close proximity and working together and having that like, you know, line of sight and line of communication. You can be creative together. Like it's good. Yeah.
That's super cool. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about mindset and work ethic.
Sure.
Obviously, like I think, you know, like nothing, like just looking back, man, it was just so many, like every night it was like till like 8 o'clock. But like, I don't even, it was kind of fun though, because like after 5, it was like a different pace. Like we were still working, but like we weren't like so focused. Like, you know, we're throwing in a pizza and, you know, like we're still working on stuff. But like, that work ethic is just like, for me today, like I was telling Isaac this yesterday. I'm like, dude, I get to the office at like 9 and I'm home by like 3, and it's great. It's like a good work-life balance, but like I'm kind of like waiting for it to get busy again, because in the summer we get super busy, and then I'll be here like the late nights and stuff like that. And this place is not as fun as Syndicate late night, because it's like a little bit scarier in here. But no, I just love like working the long hours, and I think I kind of learned that from you. So, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what question here is work ethic related. I guess like how do you maintain work-life balance when I feel like I've known at the times when I've known you, there was little to no work-life balance.
That's true.
Or does it not bother you? Because I've heard people say it doesn't even bother them.
You know, back then, you know, that was pretty extreme. that was definitely in the workaholic, area, but
back against the wall a little bit too.
I mean, it really kind of depends on I feel like we had a really strong why back then. Right. And so that kind of was very motivating and inspiring. I didn't really think about it that much back then because I was so driven to make it successful. And it had such a strong why behind it that, it wasn't even, I genuinely loved it. Like working that much and working that hard, I genuinely loved it. When I stopped doing that, there was almost like a period of withdrawal. Like I was like, what's all this free time? I don't know what to do with myself. I'm kind of bored. But that balance was a bit unhealthy. But again, I think, to be successful, like you have to be willing to sacrifice, right? And genuinely, that comes with time. But if your expectation is that you're going to be wildly successful doing just the fucking bare minimum, showing up when you're supposed to show up, leave when everyone else leaves, you just, in between that, you just do what's expected, you're not going to be successful because everyone can do that. Or you'd really differentiate yourself is, can I outwork people? Do I have the resiliency to work a ton of hours, especially when it's needed? Can I create a ton of value? Do I go above and beyond? Even if I'm not asked to do something, I still do it. I think that's what differentiates, successful people at times. Like when I'm at work, sometimes people they're expecting a promotion for doing just what's on the job description and just during the hours that are expected. I'm like, no, this other guy over here is kicking the shit out of you, being very productive, working a ton of hours. That's who I'm giving a promotion to. And
providing, the biggest thing you said in there for me, being on both sides recently, is like the value.
Value's huge.
Right? It's like, okay, if you make the business $100,000, then it's going to be way easier to give you that raise that you're
asking. All about value creation, 100%. Absolutely.
And vice versa too. Like you could cost the company money or resources, and then that's when it's like you're put on you're on your heels because you have no ground to stand on from a raise perspective or something like that.
Yeah, success is a funny thing, man. I think success is relative, right?
Big time.
Meaning, I think sometimes people ask what does it mean to be successful? It's like, well, you need to first define what success is to you. Some people, success is monetary, right? Making a certain amount of money or having a certain car or a certain home, that's success to them. Some people's success is being an incredible father, a pillar in their community. And that's what success is. I have friends who make a shit ton of money. They have cars, boats, house, and they're the most miserable, unhappy people I know. And then I'll have another friend who makes $60,000 a year. He's an incredible father, coaches his kids' hockey team, is a big part of the community. Literally the happiest person I know, right? So you really have to determine and define what success means to you personally. And I think that's just a big key around success, because ultimately, if you don't understand what success is to you, and let's say you think success, or you've been conditioned to think success is the money and monetary, the things, and it's monetary.
Yeah.
You get there, you have that success, and you realize this is fucking empty. I'm not actually happy, right?
Yeah.
Where if I would have defined what success really meant to me at the beginning, I would have went down the correct path, and then I would have reached that goal, and I would be happy.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really what fills your cup, what makes you happy.
Well, and I've realized too, lifestyle creep's a real thing. And for me, the last 2 years have been abundant, and then I start buying all these things. Right. Sure. And I caught it quick enough, but you start to realize I start to associate success with this monetary thing. Right. And then it's
natural.
Okay, you buy the Mercedes, and then you move into a bigger apartment than you need. And then you're sitting there and you realize there's always higher levels, right?
You keep chasing.
It's okay, cool. Now I have the Mercedes. What's next? The Bentley?
Sure.
What's next? The house on Minnetonka? What's next? A cabin house too? You're just no matter what level you get to, there's always going to be more levels to step up into. And then it's just a rat race. And then you're just keeping up with the Joneses. And then you have a bad year, a bad 6 months, and you're in such a poor spot, you can't even believe you're looking in the mirror. You're just what's going on?
I hear you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it is important to be driven, right? And trying to achieve things. And, if monetary or possessions do that for you, so be it. I'm not judging anybody. I think it's great to be driven and try to achieve goals. But, you know, to your point, you know, you get to that level and you do kind of continue to chase. And I think on the monetary part where like your identity is financial, right? And then you have a bad year and you're completely wiped out. Like you're like, who am I? Because you've just completely created your identity within, you know, financial means. And I just think you should have a balance in like, yes, I believe in chasing wealth. I believe in chasing, you know, any type of life you want, but I think there also needs to be a part of that life that's, you know, balanced around relationships and you know, having life experiences and stuff like that, because, you know, it's important. And
purpose behind like why you even do what you do.
Purpose is like, huge, man. In my opinion, there's nothing more important than purpose, right? Like at the end of your days, man, like the car ain't fucking going with you, right? The house ain't going with you, right? What are people going to say about you at your funeral about who you were and the impact you had on their life? Like that truly like inspires me. Like I want to have had a positive impact on people that was able to better their situation, better their life. They're able to give their family a better life, because that stuff replicates, right? And now they are going to do that to other people. And that's legacy, really, right? The car is not fucking legacy. The house isn't legacy, right? Impact you have and influence you have on the people around you is the legacy, because they're then going to do it to the people around them. And just think about the impact you ultimately have when it all just kind of is said and done. It's all about legacy.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, a lot of my purpose, at least recently, has been like leading the team and providing, you know, good lives for the team too. Like we're obviously a for-profit company, but like it's also like I want to make sure my team is taken care of, and it
makes you feel good, right? To take care of your people.
Yeah, it makes me feel good. And I remember like last year, Devin totaled his car. And then he was shopping new cars, and I had heard some like murmurings about like, oh, I might be getting like a Subaru or whatever. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever kind of car you get, you know, like don't even care that much. And then like when he sent me the picture of him like outside the dealership with his new car and he was like smiling and he had the keys, like the look on his face, and I was just like, damn, dude, like
that's purpose.
Yeah. Like I feel happy that I was able to, you know, generate enough leads, produce enough projects to like pay myself, pay you, and like allow us both to like, you know, allow you to get like the brand new black on black Subaru. Like
that's what it's all about, man. That's what life's all about and that's that, you know, that influence, that servant leader is like, you know, you're sacrificing, working your ass off to make sure that, you know, you're building a great company with great people, and, you know, they're able to kind of, you know, have a great life because of that. And in my opinion, there's just nothing fills my cup personally more than those feelings. Like that's what makes, you ask me about like working the crazy hours. It's for that, right? It's to have that feeling. That's, yes, is maybe making some good money during that period. Awesome. 100%. But nothing compares financially to that feeling, right? That feeling of purpose. And that shit's addictive, right? Now you want to just replicate it. And you hope that the person you did that for will also do that for someone else, and just has this positive impact, like from a community standpoint.
Yeah. Well, and it also, for me, it's like, I'm going to show up every day for that person, because they're going to show up every day for me. And then there's this like weird accountability that's like kind of purpose driven as well. And
purpose driven cultures, man, is like, those are the great companies, right? Where people are truly bought into a vision and they're so engaged in it, and everyone is working for everyone else. And I mean, those are the companies that go a hell of a long way.
Yeah. 100%. I think, even like now it's like, I'm engaged now. So it's like, it's crazy to even say that. I can't even believe it.
Congrats,
but like,
bud.
Thank you. But like, there's that whole purpose too now of like,
it's a strong why.
I became a godfather this last year. It's like wild. I'm like, now I'm a godfather. It's like,
that's awesome.
It's crazy, you know? And like, and then it's challenging me to think in different ways that I haven't had to think before. Like genuinely, like make sure I'm like present on that birthday, not just like physically present, but like I'm there and I'm like pouring into this like this kid, you know, that's like, you know, could someday end up living. I don't know. Like you just never know what's going to happen. So that's been powerful for the purpose and stuff like that too. And I think, we just did this shoot for the National Kidney Foundation, and it's really insane to see the people. We just interviewed a bunch of like the donors and stuff like that. And it's like, these are people that found purpose with a business, probably early in life, started the business, led people, whatever, made a bunch of money.
Sure.
Cool. Then they probably had a family, kids moved out. Now they're like 55, 60, and their purpose is dedicating their life to the Kidney Foundation.
100%.
The family doesn't give them as much purpose as it used to. The business doesn't give them as much purpose as it used to. So it's just funny watching them step up this ladder of purpose and find it in different ways. And then, inevitably, those are like the people I like talking to as well, because it's like you can learn so much.
100%, man. Purpose-filled lives are what it's all about. And I mean, even on the money thing too, like, I don't want it to come across as I'm saying like you shouldn't be motivated to make a lot of money, because if you make a lot of money, you now have the means to do really great things for other people, right? And whether that's, through philanthropy or starting a nonprofit or really doing anything like that, is you have the ability now to give back and have that purpose. Everyone wants purpose. I can tell you personally, when I'm struggling mentally, it's genuinely because I've lost sight of purpose. Like I feel like I'm grasping for something and it's not there. And when I recenter and find that purpose again, that's when I'm really just like fucking an animal again. And it's just purpose is so critical, I think, in driving people forward. When I'm in that state, I don't need to be pushed. Like I'm being pulled by it, right? I'm being pulled by that why or that purpose. And that's when people are super dangerous.
Yeah. And I would say, I mean, honestly, like the monetary side of things too motivates me in a sense. It motivates me to do a better job, motivates me to like step up the level of production, buy more lights. Like I get motivated by big projects for sure. But you had mentioned like the monetary side and having that monetary and allowing you to, I guess, like give back more. And I think oftentimes that's like misconstrued. Like people think like, oh, I got to give back. Like I got to solve climate change or I got to solve this, that, and the other. Like, dude, I bought a coffee for someone and like watched them like melt. Like they were so grateful for this $5 coffee. So like, you don't need to be this like multi-millionaire to like have influence. Like if you could make someone's day, like
that's a great example. Cause you don't have to be a multi-millionaire to truly make someone's day. I think just, and you asked me about the dinner thing and I said The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, like I find it incredible that all this success he has had and the amount of money he has made, he is still such a humble, grateful person. Like he shows gratitude constantly. And I just think that's such a unique, personality trait for someone who could just be a fucking asshole, right?
Yeah.
He just has more money than God and he's all this success and he could just be a prick, but he's not. Like, he gives back. He shows up at like children's hospitals and shit. Like he's
and
just
the biggest smile too.
I know. And he's genuine about it. Yeah. Right. I just think he's just a great human being. Yeah. And someone to kind of inspire to be. And I love that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, then, there's a ton of celebrities out there that are quite literally the opposite too.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's not for me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super, super crazy. Well, So Will, I got a lot of young friends. I got a lot of young people around me, and we all graduated college like 2 years ago. And I feel like a lot of people are in this like same boat. Sure. Like I feel like I'm around more lost people than ever. Yeah. And it's crazy because like, I played hockey, so the purpose was hockey, and then the purpose was like college and meeting all these new people, and then it's like plop, you're in like the work world, and everyone's like, whoa, what is my purpose? Like now this is the first time I haven't been told what my purpose is to find it. So what advice would you have for people like facing setbacks or feeling like a failure or feeling like they just don't know what they're doing?
Sure. No, I think failure is a really real thing. And, failure is interesting because it's really based on how you frame it. Like, how do you see failure? I personally, look, you are going to fail. If there's an expectation in your mind that things are just going to be fucking awesome always and you're never going to fail, you're wrong. I think it's how you respond to failure that's important. You fail forward. You know, you can find a positive and everything. If I fail and then I figure out why I failed and I make improvements and I recalibrate to be better because of it, then in my opinion, at that point, it's become a success, right? I think the biggest difference between successful people and mediocre people is how they fail. Successful people fail fast, right? They get knocked down, they go to the canvas, they dust themselves off, they're back up and they're moving forward, right? They don't sit in a victim mentality. They don't say why, they don't say why me. It's like, no, I failed. I picked myself back up and do it quickly and I re-engage and go forward. So, you know, I think you can't be afraid to fail, right? Because I think once you accept the idea that, yeah, there's going to be some failures, there's going to be some setbacks. Life is not fucking fair whatsoever. Once you accept that idea and the idea of failing forward and just becoming stronger and stronger through all of those situations, there's no growth without resistance, right? Whether you're in the gym, whether you're in life, like there has to be an element of resistance to become stronger. So, you know, sometimes I'll even frame it like I like going through a hard time, right? It's because you just get stronger. You're going to be better for it. You're going to be more resilient. You'll handle it better next time. So yeah, I would frame failure the right way in your mind, and it just makes it less daunting and less fearful. You're less risk adverse at that point. You're willing to take on more. People who can jump into things without fear are fucking the most dangerous people, man, because they'll just go after it and they're not afraid to fail. Failure, or the fear of failure, holds so many people back from even starting, right? It just keeps them complacent, and you just can't be afraid of that.
Yeah, I feel like there's countless movie scenes where like someone jumps in the water and everyone's looking around like, oh, we're going, you know, or jump. I don't know. I can just already like visualize them. But like, I also think sometimes people think something's a failure when it's not even a failure. Like your first job out of college, you loved it the first 6 months. The last 6 months have been horrible. It's not a failure if you leave that job after a year, right? You know, like take the experience with you and go and move on. Like I think people have this like hard, at least some people I know, like they have this inability to like admit to themselves that they are unhappy a little bit, you know, and maybe they can feel it or they just don't accept it, or maybe they're not in tune with their emotions or something. But sometimes it's like, you know, I can just a lot of my friends are in that kind of space. So it's kind of interesting.
One of the biggest pieces of advice I would give people, younger people, I mean, or really anyone, is, you know, self-awareness is so critical. Like, know thyself is a saying by Socrates. And who are you? Like, have you ever sat down and truly thought, like, who am I? What are my values? What do I find important? What are my principles? Like, who am I truly? And being true with yourself, not like making it up to kind of be like someone else, but who am I really as a person? Because at the end of the day, life's all about choices. It's millions and millions of choices, and your choices are based on who you are, what you value, what your principles are, right? So making sure that you have the right principles, the right values are going to drive those decisions and those choices you make every day. Am I going to the gym or not? It's a yes or no, right? Make the right choice. Am I getting up early when I'm supposed to? It's a yes or fucking no. Like life's pretty fucking simple. When you really drill it down, it's millions of choices. And how many times can you make the right choice is going to lead to your success. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but you have to know yourself. Yeah, man. You just have to know yourself, be truly honest with yourself, and that'll lead you down the right path. Like, don't lie to yourself about what you like, right? Don't lie to yourself about the kind of career you want to have, because it's someone else's dream. Like, have your own dream, know yourself, and then make decisions every single day that lead down that path. Yeah. So, I mean, life's hard, but it is kind of simple when you really drill it down to just make the right choices. Yeah.
I feel like if I broke down myself, I would be like self-analytical, a little bit emotional sometimes, like sometimes a little too loving, but also at the same time, like a little candid, a little brash. Like if I wish I was more of that. Sure. So what would your advice be for that? Like if I wish I was like more like just say it and just like deal with the consequences, or just like truly like, I just wish I was more honest with people, like straight to their face, I feel like I sugarcoat things.
What's the fear of not being honest to someone's face?
Let me think. Probably.
You don't want to offend them?
Probably that.
Because if you offend them, what, they're going to think negatively of you? Is that what it is?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, and that matters a lot to you.
I also feel like I'm going to word it poorly, and then like I'll be like, I just feel like Dave Portnoy is a good representation of like, he just speaks his mind.
For sure.
But he words it in such a way where it's like no one ever takes offense to it somehow, you know?
I mean, some people do, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I think, look, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable at times, right? Yeah. And that leads, if you want to develop a certain skill, or like maybe being candid is something you want to get better at, knowing that that's not something you're great at today, right? More than likely, you're going to have to experience some discomfort getting there, right? So you have to be willing to be uncomfortable at times and push through it, because the more at bats you get at the plate, the better a hitter you're going to be. But you got to take swings, right? And you got to go to the plate and take some hacks. So, but I think with resiliency and anything, like you got to be willing to be uncomfortable, right? And to feel a little bit of pain and anxiety. But ultimately, that's what makes you stronger. That's what makes you better at anything. Yeah. I think if you find yourself, I got to
exercise it.
If any time you find yourself super comfortable, that should be like a mental trigger. Like, it's time to try something else. I need to stretch myself again. I need to get myself into an area or a zone that I feel uncomfortable, because now I'm stretching again. And I think people tend not to do that because it's easy not to. People don't like feeling uncomfortable. One of my favorite negotiation tactics is like dynamic silence. You ever be around people who are like, they can't handle silence. They have to say something, right? And I'll just sit with someone and I won't say a word, and I'll just let that anxiety in them build, because they can't handle feeling uncomfortable. But I think doing things that make you uncomfortable train your brain to be okay in those moments. And it, it can lead to success in certain things, and create a level of mental strength that's, can be very helpful.
I think you taught me that silence tactic, because I initially, when I was on sales calls for Bloom, I'd say, what's your budget? And I'd be like, what's your budget? And if you don't have one, that's fine. But like blah, 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 this, that, or the other, like, we can do it for a decent price. Like we're happy to work the quote. And then I would just like not even allow them to talk. Versus if I just say, what's your budget? Yeah. And they just let them silent. Sit. Yeah. Dude, you'd be amazed at some of like the stuff people spit out. Yeah.
I'll just sit there and like, I'm not going to talk first. They have to say the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, also I will say, like, on the more candid side of things, I had an experience this week, earlier this week. And I was at the gym, and I'm, going through my workout, and I walk up to, that like fly machine that people do back and chest on. Sure. Great machine. But I walked up, and this guy like comes up and he's like, whoa, I've been waiting for 30 minutes for this machine. Right.
30 minutes. Okay.
So then I was like, okay, I'm going to take this time to be a little bit more candid, a little bit more like act how I feel right now. So I was like, 30 minutes. You've been sitting around for 30 minutes, and you would be amazed by like my whole body. Like I couldn't believe, like I probably even put a weird face on. Like I was like shaking I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to because I just haven't had a lot of confrontation in my life, maybe, or something like that. So like I've always like avoided confrontation. So like the thought that like, if he fires back, what am I going to say? Like it, but I feel like it's a random person. I don't think I ruined his day. I think he was all fine. Sure. I was fine. But I'm kind of exercising that part of my brain that's a little bit more candid, a little bit more like, really? Sure. Like challenging things all the time. And I think there's a balance, because you don't want to be that guy that's like challenging everything. Yeah. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, you just got to speak it.
I mean, I believe in being candid and being honest with people. Because let me ask you this, like, you probably, if you know someone's being honest with you, and they may be telling you something you don't want to hear, you're probably going to respect that person, right? For at least being honest with you. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, why would we not be honest with people? Like, I respect people who are honest, because I know where I stand with them, right? And again, and those are probably the people that I now will go to for advice, because I know what they're going to tell me is honest, right? And even if it's not what I want to hear, they're the kind of people that are trustworthy. Those are the people you want around you, man. The people that'll tell you how it is very clearly, versus the person that's going to bullshit you and just tell you what you want to hear. Those people don't create value in your life.
Yeah.
The people who are honest with you create value.
Well, those are the deepest relationships too.
100%.
I mean, just even thinking of like the most influential people in my life, you being one of them, just always honest with me.
Because why not? Why not? Like, what good does me lying to you do for you?
If you would have sugarcoated everything at Syndicate, you probably wouldn't be here right now.
Because I mean, I just don't know why would we sugarcoat, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't we just be straight up? Because you're going to trust me now because you know I'm not bullshitting you.
Yeah. 2 more questions. How would you navigate and overcome imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. To be honest with you, I battle with this once in a while. And I feel like imposter syndrome tends to happen when you step up into a space you're uncomfortable in. I just got promoted. Or, because you're like, then you start to question, do I deserve to be here? Right? Yeah. Do I deserve this title, this role, this great thing that's happened to me? And I think it's just important to remind yourself that you're not there by accident. You were promoted for a reason, right? You have a certain skill or ability that has been identified, and that's why you're there. And just kind of reminding yourself of that. I am good enough for this. Like, I'm not here by accident.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. I think surrounding yourself with the right people is really critical. People that'll tell you things straight up, and being present is huge. I used to struggle with this a bit. I had a hard time living in the present. I would either be looking back at the past or I'd be future tripping about like what's to come or what might happen. And maybe if I fail at this, the world's going to end, right? And this imposter syndrome would kick in and I'd start thinking worst case scenario, but instead trying to be present, like living in the present is key. You're supposed to be there. You're there for a reason. You're good enough to do it. This isn't by accident. I think that's a big one.
I don't think we've talked about looking in the past. I don't think there's a lot of good that can come from looking in the past.
So is that Arnold quote? He said, he's like, I don't look at, and this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has a lot of great shit to look in the past about, right? He's like, I don't look backwards. Why would I? He's like, I like looking forward. Yeah. And because the past it's the past. And
you can't change it.
No.
And when you dwell on it, then you're kind of like victimized. Yeah. You're like, oh gosh, like today sucks because like when I was 12, like this happened. It's like, really?
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we romanticize the past too. Like we almost create a false narrative of what the past was when it actually really wasn't that way at times.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I just think, living in the present's key. I think self-affirmation is great. That's something I do every morning. Like I remind myself who I am, what I'm good at. I'm focused, I'm willing, I'm disciplined, I'm grateful, I'm resilient, I'm intentional, I'm tenacious, and I'm enthusiastic and I'm honest.
And you just look in the mirror and recant those things.
I write them down every morning.
Okay, yeah.
And because again, knowing myself, right? Know thyself. That's who I am as a person, and I remind myself of that. And I do that in the morning. So as I'm going through my day, let's say you come into a situation where you're going to lie. It's like, no, I'm honest. I'm going to be honest, right? I'm a grateful person. I'm resilient. Just reminding yourself of who you are can be really helpful in those moments where you're like, fuck, who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when you're maybe like, for me, like I get into emotional, and this is probably just coming with it. I've definitely grown out of this, but I still go through these phases where sometimes I'll get like emotional and act out of emotion. Yeah. And then I look back and I'm like, that doesn't align with any of the values, like I never raise my voice and get like freaked out, but like here I am screaming at someone for no reason, No,
I think again, knowing yourself, right? Knowing I'm an emotional person. So that level of self-awareness can help in those moments to maybe correct a certain type of action or a certain type of behavior. I think, self-awareness is, honestly, for me, like habits and routines changed my life, right? If I'm left to my own devices, I'm fucking lazy. I'll eat like shit. I have the craziest sweet tooth ever, right?
Yeah.
But I developed habits and routines that best serve me, right? The gym, my morning routines, all these different habits, reading. I hated to read. I had to force myself. And then I just started banging out books. Again, habits and routines that best serve you. And again, the self-awareness of knowing, like, if left to my own devices, yeah, I'll lay on the couch all day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, because I just kick in these routines, I kick in these habits, and they get me down the right path.
Yeah. That's super true. I mean, and I feel like sometimes like the routines and stuff might even be just something you haven't. I always said, like, I can't work out in the morning. I'm not a morning gym guy. Yeah. And now here I am, like 3 months on like the best 3 months of working out I've ever had in my life. Yeah. And it's all been in the morning. And it took me like, I was just amazed by the fact that it took me 25 years to figure out that like working out in the morning is the best thing for me.
Dude, it took me 30 years, right? I hated the mornings. I hated them. I was a night person. And then I think I read Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership, and he talked about discipline equals freedom. And, you know, we're in the sense that if I got up in the morning and I did these things, I would have, you know, the freedom to do what I wanted in the evening. Mm-hmm. And I just started doing it. And it sucked at first. I was terrible. But also I was like really big on discipline now. And I think discipline changed my life as well. Like doing the things you're supposed to do when you don't want to do them is discipline, right? And I just discipline to these habits, discipline to these routines. It creates this resiliency and mental strength that, you know, people would get into those states. They're hard to fucking beat, man. Like, you're not going to beat that person. That person's going to take your freaking soul.
Well, because discipline to me is like, it's for me, it's like, there's no outside factors. It's it's up to you and it's your brain talking to yourself 100%. And it's a yes or a no. Like, it's not like, go make $1 million next year. It's like, okay, well, there's a lot of things that have to line up to do that. But if it's like, wake up at 6 a.m., it's as simple as that alarm going off and you hitting snooze or you hitting turn it off.
100%, man. Like, again, choices, right? Am I going to get up or am I not? Right? It's a simple choice. And you're right. It's all internal, right? There's no external circumstance in that. Yeah. People will ask me, like, why do you work out still? I'm like, because I like the internal battle at times to get myself there, to work hard. There's no reason, right? Other than I just want to feel healthy. I want to feel strong. I want to challenge myself. It's me against me. And I just, you know, I think the discipline and the habits that best serve me have been really impactful on, you know, how I've lived my life. And it's been really, really helpful. So yeah.
I had that on Wednesday. I got up like sluggish to the gym. Like Wednesday, I think I had gone Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it was like day 4. I'm pretty sore. Yeah. And I did a leg day. And I remember I was just like, I'm going to get through this. Yeah. And I got there and I sat in my car for probably 5-6 minutes. Then I got in there, got changed, went down. I looked at like all the squat racks and stuff. I'm like, gosh, I stretched out a little bit. And then I started, you know, I started doing calves, right? Yeah. And then I started to kind of wake up. I had some pre-workout and I was doing calves. And then I was just like, okay, calves, that's 1 out of 6 workouts. You know? Then I did leg extensions, 2 out of 6. Then I did lunges, 3 out of 6. And then before you know it, like it took me a lot longer, but I didn't lie to I was like, I'm going to get through this. Yeah. And I was like, my first meeting's at 9. I have like basically 3 hours here. Yeah. To get this done. Yeah. And I don't care if it takes me 3 hours, I'm getting it done. Yeah. So I was sluggish, but I still made sure I got through it, which
sometimes you just got to start, man.
Yeah.
And I think there's another important like principle there is like, you know, keep the promises you make to yourself. If you can't keep the promises you make to yourself, how the fuck are you going to keep promises to anybody else?
Yeah.
If I tell myself I'm going to do something, I better fucking do it. I keep the promises I make to myself. It's incredibly important because like I said, you know, just from a character standpoint and integrity, and if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it because I do that for myself. So I think that's a key piece as well. But yeah, like to your point, sometimes all you got to do is just start.
Yeah.
You know? Just get yourself started. I'm a huge believer in momentum, man. Like momentum. You ever feel like you stack a couple wins and you kind of got some momentum going and like shit just starts happening. Like, I'm such a freaking believer in momentum and vice versa, man. Sometimes you just like, you feel stuck. You're like at a complete halted stop and you're like, man, this is really challenging right now. So I really believe in trying to keep momentum in anything you're doing. Don't take 3 days, 4 days off of something because it's hard to get going again, right?
Yeah.
So as long as miss something one day, fine, but don't miss it 2 days in a row, right? That's fine if you miss it once, but keep positive momentum. And I don't care if that's and we're supposed to do something for the business every single day.
Yeah.
We missed it today, but we better do it tomorrow. Or if it's the gym, or if it's really anything, I'm supposed to read 10 pages a day.
Yeah.
Just momentum is huge, man. Just stay in motion.
I also feel like we have like, at least a lot of like the people I'm around, they're just like very short-term mindset, like momentum, like, oh, like something bad happened this morning, it just killed my momentum, right? But it's like, why don't you zoom out over the past 6 months? Yeah. Have you had, just let's just go like week at a time, like momentum. Has there been momentum throughout those weeks? And you start to realize like there is momentum, sure. Like you can find momentum if you zoom out far enough.
Yeah, consistency is key, man. Like stay consistent with things. It takes you a hell of a long way, because everyone will get super motivated to do things, right? Whether it's like a New Year's resolution, but they don't understand like the key to the results is the process and being consistent in the process. You got to consistently be disciplined in those moments, in those days, checking the boxes on those habits, right? Day in and day out, and being consistent with that. That's how you get long-term results.
Yeah. And I keep going back to the gym, but like for me, I knew the gym was working because I'm a social media guy. Yeah. I'm like, I go to the gym and I don't post anything. Yeah. I don't need to prove to anyone I'm there. I'm doing it for me.
You're there for you, yeah.
And I've told everyone around me knows, I've said this 100 times. Like I say, June 1st won't lie.
Yeah.
Like if June 1st I look in the mirror and I'm still not happy with where I'm at, then I got to work harder. If I look in the mirror and I'm happy with where I'm at, I'm like, keep going. Like no matter what, I'm going to keep going. But like, I feel like I'm falling in love with the process, right? I don't need this like outside credibility that I was there. I don't need this proof that I was there. And I'm kind of excited because I'm definitely like building a better physique than I've ever had. And I just like, no one even knows I'm going to the gym. And then come this summer, I'm just going to be like happy with where I'm at shape wise. Like it's more for me.
It's all about the process. You got to love the process, right? You need to see where you're trying to go, right? What's the goal I'm trying to achieve, and then drill it backwards. Okay, to achieve that, what do I need to do on a weekly basis, and then drill it into a daily basis. And here's my process in that day. If I do these things with discipline every single day, I know that by being consistent and stacking those, I'm going to hit that, right? Yeah. I think some people get they set these goals and it's daunting, right? Because they're looking 2 miles down the road. It's like, no, drill it to today. What do I need to accomplish today to ultimately achieve that? And just drill it down. And it makes life a hell of a lot simpler. Yeah. And I'm like weird about like, I like checklists. Like all my goals or all my habits.
Why don't planes crash, bud?
I check the boxes, man. That's funny. I'm all about checklist processes, and it makes life simple. I know if I check these boxes, if I do these things and check these boxes, I'm going to be successful. Like, and there's nothing more simple than that. Yeah. So, but you have to have discipline to do it.
It's easy to overcomplicate things.
It really is
too deep. Yeah. I think that's the moral of this whole episode is like, it's as simple as yes or no, checklist work, like
choices, man, discipline,
choices, purpose. Like there's just a few things that just boil down to just.
We overcomplicate life, man. It's hard and it can get, complex, but I think the more you can do to simplify it down and again, know who you are and who you want to be. And then what are the choices you need to make to be that person? It's just, and then do it.
And give up on letting all these outside factors like contribute like to your, it's just like this happened, so I can't do this. Or like, I had that mindset a lot at Syndicate, you'd be like, why didn't we post today? Well, no one's in the office or, whatever excuse I'd come up with, and it's like, that's really not an excuse. Like,
You ever do any like philosophy or stoicism or anything like that? You ever heard of stoicism?
I'm not that familiar. I'm not that familiar with any of that.
I love stoicism, man. It really talks about, the only thing you can control is the internal, right? Your internal thoughts, your actions. The external, you have no control over. So why even focus on it? Yeah. Right? You focus on you, the internal, how you think, your thoughts, what your actions are. And there's this saying, it's a Latin saying, it's amor fati, which means love your fate. It's all about being internal. Like your fate is what it is, man.
Yeah.
And, people get too wrapped up in the external, right? They worry about what other people are doing. Worry about yourself, man. Like worry about your own thoughts, how you're thinking about life, what your personal actions are, who you are. Because that's all you can control. You can't control other people. People will let you down, right?
100%.
If you don't let yourself down, you'll be just fine.
Yeah. That's super. I like that. I feel like I oddly enough don't even know what that did. Well, I've heard of books like the Daily Stoic and things like that.
I read this Daily Stoic every day, man.
Really?
It's a good prompt for journaling as well.
Okay.
I'll read the Daily Stoic and then it'll kick in some thoughts, and it's just, I think it's important. Like you should try to get yourself to think, right?
Yeah.
Think about life bigger than your own little bubble or your own self, right? And think about different ideas, different perspectives. It's just good. It's good to kind of stretch yourself mentally, and yeah, man, I like Stoicism. It's cool.
Yeah, that's super, super cool. Last question, Willie. This is the big one.
Yep, the big one.
Because I know you're into this influencer boxing world.
Don't you dare ask me about Tyson versus
Jake Paul. Jake Paul or Mike Tyson. Who do you got, dude?
Oh man, I hate that. I hate that I'm gonna say this because I'm a Mike Tyson fanatic.
Yeah, you are.
I think Jake Paul is gonna beat him. But what is that saying? Mike Tyson's so old now.
It's also just a money grab. Mike Tyson wants his quick mill or whatever he's gonna make on that. And
I mean, from the marketing standpoint, though, those guys are crazy good at it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. They've been doing it since forever, man. I think it's kind of funny, and I'm open to this, but like I've been watching Jake Paul and Logan Paul since I was like,
I know. I didn't even know who these kids were until like
since I graduated high school, bro. I would go home and I remember just being so excited to watch their video, and I don't know what it was. I remember being like slightly embarrassed, like, why am I a Jake Pauler?
It's a guilty pleasure.
It's fucking crazy, but now it's like watching them progress and talk. You want to talk about consistency? Like those guys have been consistently growing and putting themselves in uncomfortable situations for years and years and years. And not saying everything they do is super amazing or any or like something you should take note of, but just like them as actual people, like they're hardworking people, they're consistent, and
I watched the documentary.
A lot of the YouTubers I watched.
Was it Jake Paul? Was it both of them? I was like really impressed by like just the business acumen and the hustle and the grind of it. Like, I think I had a false perception of who they were, and maybe they were a little younger, and
they were definitely
but like, dude, like the boxing thing, that's no joke, man. Like that takes consistency and discipline and hard work, and I give those guys a lot of credit. So
was that I swear his coach made him run around the track like a scary amount of times. Like I thought
the documentary, dude, he's actually become a pretty decent boxer, man. Yeah, it's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah. And
I mean, I want to see him fight someone real. But,
I mean, he lost to Tommy Fury or whatever. I don't know. It's just, I think it's fun to watch. I also think it's good for the boxing sport. We haven't had someone like Tyson Ali, like those people, like in a long time. And
those guys are marketing freaking geniuses, man. Yeah, I'll give a lot of credit to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Love or hate them, they do their thing.
Yeah. Well, cool. I guess I don't know if you. The last question is, where do they find you if you care?
Yeah, you don't gotta find me.